Okay. Harry, we haven't seen you for ages. Now, you've just used up 4 minutes and 59 seconds of your time because Linda used it.
All right.
He's very generous.
Far away, mate.
Okay, I'm going to talk about the steam tug Lyttelton and a current issue and how you can help. In a nutshell, we need some momentum behind the plan for the public to reclaim the Lyttelton Inner Harbour. There's the tug in Scotland, brand new, 1907. And if I figure out which button to push, yep, just to reinforce how old it is, the ship the tug is escorting out of the harbour is the Nimrod, Shackleton's earlier ship than the Endurance. Now, the tug had steamed its way to New Zealand by this time, of course. Here's the tug today. I'm going to skip the last 115 years. Here it is, that period of time later, carrying passengers on the harbour. In a good season, it takes 2,000 passengers out. They go out just for the fun of it. I can't stress this enough. This is a very significant piece of maritime heritage. It's the oldest seagoing steam vessel in the world that is still operational. It's the oldest commercial vessel in New Zealand, and it's operated by an all-volunteer society. And it survives, barely survives, on grants, donations, passenger revenue, and so on. But there's a problem, you see. It needs a permanent home. Now, there's the picture of the port. You'd think there'd be somewhere in there where you could keep the oldest inhabitant, wouldn't you? In the last few years, it's been on a berth called 2 East, which has been quite satisfactory. But if we look at this picture of the port, and if I can get the mouse to operate, 2 East is up there somewhere, the tug has been relegated down to Z berth, which is over here, beside the cruise ship berth, because of operational constraints. The ships are bigger, the port needs to, handle their commercial customers and so on. It's proved to be quite impossible to maintain and operate the tug from that location. There's no public access, it's inside the port security, there's no access at all when there's a cruise ship there, and it's exposed to the weather. Now, you'll see there's 3 little berths in there that don't have labels. That's because they're essentially derelict. This is from a port company document. The earthquakes damaged their wharves. Well, that was a while ago now, of course. Fire damaged one of the wharves as well. But the thing is, there's wharves there and there's space there that's not being used. There was the Lyttelton Master Plan, 2012. It made all the right noises. It says the port company is going to move round to the east and there's going to be increased public access to the inner harbour. There was the Lyttelton Port Recovery Plan. It said all the right things as well. That was 2014. And it had little pictures of things that were going to happen and so forth. And a lot of it did happen, but it's like an unfinished book. It's like the author's nodded off to sleep before he's finished the story. There was the Port Lyttelton Plan, 2015. This is a port company document. We're going to have a thriving port, a vibrant waterfront and a healthy harbour. And that's just all fantastic, isn't it? We're going to move the port operations to the east and free up space for public access. And that number up there says 2014 for that top picture. And down here, the bottom one says 2044. And we're going to have a big reclamation and see how these things in the middle have changed colour. These bits of the inner port. This bit in the middle is the marina, which has happened. That's quite correct. This next bit here, that section, is labelled Future Public Access. Now, I've sat down with the port company chief executive, who recently resigned, of course, and with other port managers, and I've said, what's the plan? And the thing is, there is no plan to progress this at the moment. There's a general idea that they are going to move out of the inner port and it'll be available for public access, but there's no actual plan to make things happen. There's no timeline and there's no budget. That's the picture of the planning information that came with one of those documents. You'll see it's all a bit vague and wishy-washy, because there is no plan. Now, if the tug has to wait until 2044 for a permanent home, it won't be with us. It's as simple as that. The point is that we collectively own the port company. It's great that they run an effective commercial operation and make money and all that sort of thing, but there's an important social contract here as well. We want your assistance in focusing the port company's attention on proactively planning to complete the redevelopment that will allow more public access to the inner harbour. The fact is they're occupying but not actually using inner harbour real estate that has great public value, and the tug, the world's oldest operating steam vessel, will be able to get a permanent home when we can get more access into that inner harbour. And then we'll see if we can keep it operating another 100 years for you.
Thank you. So I've got two questions quickly. It's Tim and then Tyler.
The question is for you and Lynn. When we get a next update from either CCHL or LPC, could we include this in there? And please explain where we are at the moment in the relationship. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. All right.
G'day, Harry. So, where's the ideal spot? Is it at Tiana, or is it in the space that'll be cleared by the demolition of 3, 4, and 4, 5, and 6?
Well, they need to get...
Or is it the old number? Is it number 2 wharf? Do you think? Where's the ideal spot?
It'd be good to get back to number 2 in the short term, but they see their bulk carriers they're taking into the port. You know, they've said they'll take bigger bulk carriers, and they're squeezing out the tug. Number 7 wharf is scheduled. You know, is where the fishing boats park at the moment is scheduled to become public access in due course. But that whole series of the 3 small wharfs, 4, 5, and 6, and number 7, are slated to be public access in the long run. But they're using it to park machinery and so on over there, and the port security is around there. So there needs to be a plan for them to move on.
No, cool. I mean, ideally, probably Tiana, perhaps because of just that facilities
Tiana
there.
doesn't have a place for a vessel this size.
Yeah. Okay. No, I guess not. Yeah. All right. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Harry, for coming in and explaining that. So,